Hello, welcome along to the final time this week to Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. It's the number one tennis betting podcast and YouTube show brought to you in association with Bet Rivers. I'm Nigel Seeley. Delighted to say joining me on this cold, wet, dreary Sunday morning is our senior ATP Tour handicapper. It is Sean Calvert. Good morning to you, Sean. Nice and early.
Good morning. Good morning. It's not that cold, is it?
It is for me.
It's all right.
It's here.
I've trotted down to Tesco and that and done my exercises and I'm, it's all right. It's all right. It's about 16, 17 degrees here. This is all right.
Really? Well, it's a bit foggy,
raining,
a bit colder
obviously.
Around, but anyway. Well, I haven't really, to be perfectly honest with you, I've only gone out to let the dog out and come back. I couldn't sleep last night, and I woke up this morning, and I was looking forward to speaking to you, and I just sort of took the dog out, and I thought, that's a bit chilly, so I haven't really gone out.
You were looking forward to speaking to me when you got up this morning.
Always Sunday mornings. I like to speak to you.
You woke up and you thought, it's raining, but I'm going to speak to Sean in a minute.
It wasn't on my Thursday on the mind, but as the morning went on, and I thought about it, looked forward.
Well, there's not much tennis to watch, is there? So
No, there's not. And that's one thing that's going to cause us problems here. I mean, a lot of people mention on this show, say to us, why don't you talk about this match or that match or this particular match? Well, we only really get the matches that we're given. And today we're really struggling because the rain has really affected the play yesterday in Shanghai. And today, on Sunday, it looks, unless it's going to be on the main court, which has a roof, it looks like it's going to be a complete washout.
Yeah, there's only matches on the main court at the minute. I'm just sat here watching Sinner against Echeverry. They're in their first set at the moment. But the matches that we're about to talk about are supposed to be played today, Sunday, but it's raining. It's been raining for about a day now. It's supposed to rain for the rest of the day. So the choice that we've got is either don't do a show at all or do one and talk about some of the matches that we hope are going to be played tomorrow. If the weather forecast is correct, they will be played tomorrow, but we're kind of in the lap of the gods here. We might end up being in a situation where we do a video and we're talking about a match that's already taken place. But if it clears up, but there's not a lot else we can do because the rain's been like this year. I can't think of a tournament I've been to apart from Mallorca where it hasn't rained, like quite substantially. I don't know whether you can, but Mallorca's the only one I can think of where it hasn't been affected by the rain.
Dubai was pretty dry.
Dubai, okay. Obviously, I've not been there, but I mean, places like that, Indian Wells, which is in the desert, that's rained. Madrid was obviously a disgrace.
Even in Croatia, even in Umag, rained for a very brief.
Not for much, but it did rain. Yeah, it just seems every tournament this year for whatever reason. And this is particularly difficult because we're talking in the UK about matches that are taking place in China, which will then be uploaded in the States. So it's very difficult. But we can talk about the matches that we can. My apologies if these matches have already taken place. But we can't do anything else, unfortunately.
That is a good explanation because some people are watching this and think they can't even pick the winner of the match even after the results finished. So if that is the case,
that's the worry.
That's it's not. We are recording this before, so if you are watching, thinking, that Berrettini just beat Rune in straight sets and they're tipping that. Well, it's because we're in this sort of tricky predicament that we find ourselves in here. Let's start off with that match. It's Matteo Berrettini against Holger Rune in the bottom half of the draw. On a positive note, our bets to the quarters are all safely through, both safely through, so we're looking quite good there. This match is an interesting one.
For Mensic, wasn't it?
Very good for Mensic. And this one here is quite an interesting one because the draw has opened up for the pair of them. I was looking at this match because this was scheduled to be played the earliest hours of this morning here. Obviously, we don't know, but we think it's going to be played. And also, the weather forecast tomorrow is really bad as well, so it might even go on for another day.
Up until lunchtime, yeah.
Yeah. Looking at this match, and I was looking at the price, I think I've got to bet Holger Rune here at minus 108. Yeah, Holger Rune is minus 108. He's the underdog against Matteo Berrettini, who's minus 115. The spread is pretty irrelevant when you've got these pick-em matches. Totals, though, isn't irrelevant. It's 25.5, and Berrettini obviously has come through a tight match in his last round against O'Connell, where he won in two tie-breaks, 7-6, 7-6, 7-6, which would have cashed on a 25.5. But Berrettini is just so injury prone, and he pulled out in the first set against Artur Fils at Japan, when Fils went on to win the title. He pulled out just before the US Open. He's had injury problems all year. And Rune is someone I just thought played really well against Artur Fils and showed signs of improvement. And I did think that minus 108 here with Berrettini's injury concerns was a big price.
Yeah, I'm like you. I'm a little bit surprised that Rune is the underdog here. I think these prices have moved quite a bit. I think Rune was initially favourite and he's drifted out. I think that's correct.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
So I'm surprised. I mean, it doesn't really make any sense. if you're looking at their head-to-head, they've played 4 matches, but, well, 3 really, and one of them was a retirement. So I've only taken the stats from the 2 matches that were completed, one of which was in Indian Wells, and the other one I think was in Cincinnati. So they played 2 matches against each other completed. The service points won and return points won totals. Rune 103 to Berrettini's 97. So that's a pretty decent advantage for Rune. Rune has won 19% more second serve points. That's, almost 20% more points won on second serve in the Cincinnati meeting. And he also won more second serve points in the Indian Wells meeting as well, 5% more. You would perhaps expect Rune to win in Indian Wells, where it's kind of slower, higher bouncing. But Cincinnati is quicker, lower bouncing. You would expect that would suit Berrettini, but Rune won there as well. Berrettini played great in the opening set. I think he won it 6-2, and then Rune turned it around. So on the head-to-head, you would make Rune a reasonable favourite. Current season, 2024, an outdoor hard at main level. Again, on the stats, you would make Rune favourite. His service points won and return points won total is 102. Berrettini's is 98. And the hold and break totals, Rune's on 104 and Berrettini on 101. So on the stats, there's nothing to make Berrettini favourite. Also on a sort of gut feel basis, Berrettini, as you said, he certainly isn't fit at the moment, not fully fit anyway. He hasn't probably been fully fit for a few years, if we're being honest. He tends to have patches where he is fit, and then he gets another problem again, and he's got another layoff, and it's been a long-standing issue for him. The latest one was the abs, as you said. So I just think there's absolutely no basis for making Berrettini favourite here. I know it's quick conditions, but Rune is decent. There's an argument to say Rune's actually better in quicker conditions at the moment than he is on clay. That never used to be the case, but the way that Rune plays these days, I think he's perhaps better suited to a hard court than clay. So, yeah, Rune for me, minus 108 at Bet Rivers. I think that's a decent price.
I really do think it's a great price. I mean, I quite like Rune to win the tournament. I've actually bet him to win the tournament in the bottom half. I mentioned on the show, but I've actually bet him.
Yeah, you did.
It was 100 to 1. I thought it was a big price each way. I think he's playing well. I know that Artur Feast match was an epic, and it was they tried to really go at it, and I took a lot of positives from Rune, and he goes into this stage of the year where he does well, and I think that might.
I hope he doesn't, because I've got Lehecka, and if Rune wins this, he'll play Lehecka. But
well, yeah, we've got Lehecka of the show as well. Obviously, I've bet them as well. If that means but I want them to. But Rune, I just thought Rune was a little bit of value on the outright market as well. So
yeah, I think it's a decent price. Yeah, I mean, as we're looking here, Sinner's lost the first set against Etcheverry, so we're getting late in the season. Some of these guys are, they're on the last legs, and you might get a big price running this tournament.
Yeah, it's happened before, and Rune comes into this stage of the year doing well, and at minus 108 on the money line to beat Matteo Berrettini. That is certainly a bet that both myself and Sean like. So he's got to be an official play, Sean.
Yeah, I think it's the best. But I just hope it's not been played by the time this show comes out.
No,
that's all.
I think we'll be all right. The weather forecast still looks really bad, and as I say, tomorrow all the way through. I'll be surprised if there's any tennis on the outside courts today. So that match should be on Monday, but hopefully no action there. So you head across to the BetRivers website, head across to the app. You'll be able to see the prices on Holger, Rune and Berrettini. And if the match hasn't started, as we say, minus 108 on Rune is the value. The next match, he's a very heavy favourite in Ben Shelton. He's minus 530 against the Spanish player Roberto Baena, who is plus 380. The spread here is 4.5. Baena, heavy favourite, receiving 4.5, and the total much lower than the Rune match at 21.5. They have met once before in Auckland this year, at the start of this year, where Shelton won very convincingly 6-4, 6-3. Lots of money for Shelton. His line movement's been pretty strong. Baena obviously beat Bautista Agut in the first round, the fellow battle of the Spaniards, which we tipped on this show here at plus 175. And then he beat Artur Feast, who must have been absolutely exhausted from his win in Japan. But 2 good wins for Baena, and now he's up against the big serving American. Can you see a shock here?
No, but I don't think it would be as easy for Shelton as minus 530 suggests. I expect him to win the match, but I doubt it will be easy. I think there's some value on the side markets potentially here. They had, as you said, one match, but I wouldn't have said it was a convincing win for Shelton. The scoreboard says it was, 6-4, 6-3, but Baena had 8 breakpoint chances in that match and only took 1 of them. And Shelton took 3 of his 7. So there wasn't that much in it in terms of the general play. It wasn't a massively convincing win for Shelton. He only won 10 points more in the match over the 2 sets. So where I'm going here is totals, overs, or tie break played. If you look at what Baena has done against the players that I've got listed in my database as big servers, set one over 10.5 games has cashed 50% of the time in those matches, and tie break played has cashed 58% of the time in those matches. So he's been tending to lose these matches kind of 7-6, 6-3, stuff like that, 6-3, 7-6, 6-4, 7-6, those sort of scores are what tends to occur in Baena matches against big servers. He's also played a tie-break, Baena, in his last 4 matches against left-handers at main level. Shelton, obviously, a lefty. And he's been serving very well, Baena. These quicker conditions do tend to suit his game a bit in terms of his offensive game. You know, his best stuff has come on clay at altitude, where he does get a little bit more juice out of his shots, out of his serve as well. And what he's done so far in Shanghai is won 77% of his first serve points so far in this tournament. You know, against decent returners in Bautista Agut and Artur Fils. And Shelton's won 76%. So Baena's first serve has been equally as effective so far as Shelton's. So it just points to a potential overs or tie-break situation here. Set one overs, that's over 10.5 games. That's a plus 195 chance for Bet Rivers. Or tie-break played is plus 116. So if I was betting in that one, that would certainly be the way I would go.
Yeah, lots of different markets available. Head across to the Bet Rivers website. 28 different markets available on that one. First set overs, first set tie-break. Long games in set number 1 is the way that Sean wants to go and play that. And look at Ben Shelton's record in this season with the amount of tiebreaks he's played. That is a very, very nice play. The next match we have is an all-French affair. It's Humbert, another big serving lefty, up against Gael Monfils, who's playing, must be his last Shanghai event, Beijing event, sorry. Humbert is the favourite. Shanghai, sorry, I didn't say Beijing. Beijing was last week. Humbert is the favourite, minus 235. Gael Monfils is plus 185. Spread is 3.5, minus 148 Monfils. 22.5 is the total here. Humbert had the tournament at his mercy last week, I felt. Then he ran into Artur Fils, who was an injured Artur Fils. Should have won the title, but Fils found
match
a way.
Match point, didn't he?
At
least one.
He's been involved in an epic battle there, and that match there. And these are the kind of matches that Monfils raises his game for. He played a fellow Frenchman in round number 2, Humbert beat Cazou, 2 sets to love. But now he's up against Monfils, who come through 2 matches here, Zuma and Bays, and it is Humbert who holds the head-to-head record. 3-1 they hold. He leads the record with a win in Dubai this year, and also a win for Monfils this year in Doha. What do you make of this one? Because Humbert mentally must be thinking to himself how he never beat an injured Fils last week. The market was crazy in play. It was as though that Fils was playing on one leg at one stage, which he effectively was.
He was, yeah.
Yeah. And he still couldn't get the job done.
No, I mean, Fils saved numerous match points, didn't he, last week against several different players. First time Humbert lost in the final, wasn't it? He'd won his previous 7. I think he had. I think if he'd have won that one and he had match point, at least 1 match points, he would have broken the record. I think he'd have been the only player to have won his first 8 finals at main level. So a little bit unlucky there for Humbert. This just feels like one that's going to be a bit tougher than these odds suggest, minus 235. Just looking at it in decimal, the last time they played, it wasn't even that long ago. It's February this year, like about 7 months ago. Humbert was slight favourite. Monfils was plus 120 underdog. Now he's, what is he, plus 185, 2.85. Anyway, he's 2.2 underdog previously. It just feels like it's going to be tougher. If you look at the head-to-head, they've played a couple of times this season, both on hard courts. Service points won and return points won totals, they're both on 100. So nothing to choose between the pair of them across the 2 matches they've played on this surface this season. But there's quite some difference in the stats. It's, as you'd expect in Monfils, a peculiar set of statistics. Monfils won 79% of his first serve points across those 2 matches. Humbert only 65%. So a very big advantage for Monfils in terms of first serve points won. But second serve points won very much favours Humbert. 61% on his second serve Humbert's won compared to Monfils' 40%. So a slightly strange differential there. But given the fact that Monfils has won 79% of his first serve points, in lively conditions like Shanghai, the first serve of his could be key. I mean, Humbert is normally known as a pretty effective first server, but Monfils' return game has certainly nullified it by the look of things. As you said, Humbert's coming off a long week in Tokyo, physically, mentally. He did well to beat Kazo in the first round, actually, but you feel like he's not doesn't strike me as the most robust of physical specimens. You feel like there's a sort of letdown coming at some point. And Monfils tends to go well. As you said, he tends to raise his game for the bigger matches against the bigger players. He's won 9 of his last 11 matches against fellow Frenchmen. And, the younger French players, they do tend to look up to Monfils. Perhaps not so much Humbert, but he's certainly got a good record against his fellow countrymen. It just feels like it might not take a lot for Humbert to kind of let this one go if he's behind. I think it'll be I think he'll do well to win this, Humbert. The leans here are over 10.5 games in set 1, given that Monfils does so well on first serve against Humbert. It might well take Humbert a bit of a while to crack him if he does crack him. So over 10.5 games in set 1, plus 190, that is, with Bet Rivers. Or Monfils to start out quickly, as he often does. Whether he'll be able to keep up the pace, at the age of 38, remains to be seen. But Monfils to win set 1, plus 148. Those are probably where I'd be going there if I was taking a chance on betting on a Gael Monfils match.
Monfils to keep it going, to be good, strong in set number 1, but good strategy there. He can get the job done early in set number 1, and obviously at his age, 38 years of age, he'll probably tire as the match goes on, and Humbert, the younger player, may have the advantage. But we saw he just couldn't finish off the Arthur Feast when he gets to that finishing line. Hugo Humbert's temperament is questionable, to say the very least. Let's move on to our final match, which sees another tennis veteran, Stanislas Wawrinka, who's rolled back the years here at 39 years of age. Performing some great results in his last match. He beat Mpechi Perregard. Looked really good. He dealt with the serve. It was incredible. Mpechi Perregard didn't know what to do when he was getting it back. Cobolli. He's up against Cobolli now. Cobolli, obviously, is a player that reached the quarterfinals in Beijing. Got beat by Medvedev in his last match. And Wawrinka at 39. Can he win back-to-back matches? That's the big question. Cobolli is minus 265. Wawrinka is $2. Spread is 3.5. Total 22.5. And these two have never met before. But it's the younger Italian player who is the favourite with Bet Rivers. Wawrinka was a great win. It was his first win on hardcourt this season. 4 losses prior to that. But Mpechi Perregard didn't know what to do. I think he had a 100% record when he came to the net, and he looked pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think I got this one exactly right.
Yeah,
Wawrinka won against Mpechi Perregard. Tie breaks. Wawrinka. We didn't have the odds though, did we? We only had the money line, I think.
Yeah, it was frustrating. That was. But you did make a good case for him on the money lines. If you were forced to play on what we had available, the money line was the way to go.
Yeah, it went exactly as you would expect, given the fact that those two they do so poorly on return points won. So 7-6, 7-6 of Wawrinka is that's about right. But this looks a really bad price. This on Cobolli, minus 265. On the statistics, there's nothing to suggest that he should be anywhere near that short. If we look at the last 10 main level matches of both of these guys on all surfaces, Cobolli's got a better win rate, 60%, but his stats are all right. The service points won and return points won total is 99. Not fabulous. And his hold and break total is 102. Now, Wawrinka is on 99 and 106, but he's only won 40% of his matches, and so that it suggests that Cobolli is winning whilst not playing his best, and Wawrinka is losing whilst playing pretty well. You could probably surmise that Wawrinka is running out of legs as the matches go on. Obviously, he's 39 years of age now, so on those stats, it looks to me like the level is still there, but is it there for the entire match? He could get involved in a dogfight, and you wouldn't particularly fancy him over 3 sets against Cobolli in that situation. But looking at these stats a little bit further, these last 10 matches at main level on all surfaces, Wawrinka's held serve 89% of the time in those matches, but he's only won 40% of them. He's also won 59% of his second serve points in those matches. So his serve has been brilliant. 89% holds, 59% second serve points won. Cobolli's only won 49% of his second serve points, and yet he's won more matches. He's been successful. He's managed to get over the line. So the stats are saying that Stan has been playing well but not winning, and Cobolli has been playing all right and still winning. So that, to me, suggests there's some value on the underdog here. I don't think Wawrinka perhaps has got the legs to win a sort of grinding three-setter. Although he hasn't played much lately. He should have a reasonable amount of gas in the tank, Wawrinka. Cobolli's played a lot more tennis. But it feels like it's the good tactic for Wawrinka is to get him early. He does tend to start out well. And if he's holding serve 89% of the time, Cobolli's chances of breaking him aren't that great. So I'm quite happy to take a chance here on the plus 160 that Bet Rivers are offering about Wawrinka to win the opening set. Not so sure that he can win the match, if it goes long, but I don't mind having him to come out and start fast and take the opening set.
That seems the strategy to have on these veterans. Get the first set.
Wawrinka's lost a lot of matches this year, having won the first set. He is 39. But he's not played much, really. Just looking at the last matches that he's played. He's only played 3 matches since the Olympics.
Looking at the matches, yeah.
Cobolli's played a lot more than that. And a lot of them have been tough old matches as well. So this stage of the season, minus 265. I wouldn't want to be taking many players at minus 265 at this stage of the season unless I was absolutely certain they were going to win. And I'm not certain that Cobolli's going to win this. So this is another one that could get played later on today if it stops raining, which will be annoying. But there you go. We're in a situation where we're actually hoping for rain right now, aren't we? We're hoping that the rain carries on, which is not really the usual train of thought. But yeah, Wawrinka to win the opening set there for me.
Yep, 2 strategies to get with Hugo and Gael, Monfils and Stanislas. Wawrinka go them to win the first set, but our official plays come in the early matches. So is it just the one official one?
I'm gonna take this Wawrinka one as well. I think there's value on that, plus 160 to win the opening set, and the other one, which is Holger Rune to win the match. So hopefully these won't be played already by the time this show comes out.
No, so Holger Rune on the money line. I think he was minus 105. Was it
minus 108? Yeah,
108. That to me is the best bet. I really, really like that Holger Rune play. I think he's going to get the job done against Matteo Berrettini and get through to the next round. Here's our records on our show so far. I'm not quite sure whether these have included yesterday's football or not, but I'll give them anyway. Minus 962 on game bet match on the unit so far. Lots of tennis to come. Hopefully we've got some future tickets to cash. WTA show is minus 0.81 after Paolo Badosa. Got beat in the semi-finals. Rory, I don't know anyone who's been more unlucky than Rory in getting these players through to the semi-finals or finals and not getting over the line. It's been incredible. English Premier League show is plus 3 units, 81. There's more bets to come from there. An extra time show on the European soccer. The boys are on fire, plus 9.29 units on those shows as well. So make sure you head across all the content here on the Betting Weekly Studios by subscribing, by hitting that subscribe button. You'll get an alert every time any fresh content drops. Download this podcast, Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, and follow us on our socials at Because We Win on Instagram and on Twitter. And our main play, that's a big one for both of me and Sean. Holger Rune, you've got to get the job done against an injured Matteo Berrettini. There is an official play on the first set as well for Stanislas Wawrinka. I know it's Sunday morning, so I'm going to let you go and spend the time with the family. I know the boys got some football. Who's he up against today?
Yes.
Is it a big local match today?
It's a local match. They all are. But I'm not sure who's playing, actually. Trinity Youth, I think it is.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Are they good? Any good?
They were better than his lot last time, yeah. So
right.
it could be a sobering experience for young Lagan today.
What's your over-under goals?
Are the lines out yet?
6.5. 6.5, I would be. Is that
6.5? I'll go under on that.
You're under 6.5.
Under 6.5.
Defensive.
Yeah.
You're a new defensive
no,
mind.
they're just not very good.
Under 6.5 is the line for me if you want to play that. But make sure you play the bets here on Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. Enjoy your Sunday, the rest of your Sunday. Hopefully the weather continues to rain. It's a strange thing to say, but let's hope it continues to rain. These matches stay on Monday, and we'll be back with more content on the tennis next week for the tournament. And all the other tournaments coming across. There's a podcast coming then a little bit later on today with myself and Roy Giovanni, hopefully looking at the women's tour as well, and that'll be dropping very, very soon. So enjoy the rest of your weekend and take care from us.